Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome. My name is Sally Berkery. I'm the Managing Director of CEW UK, and I'm delighted to have you join us for today's exclusive session in partnership with CIRCANA. Over the next 45 minutes or so, we'll be diving into the key macro, consumer, excuse me, I will start from the beginning. Classic error. It's like it's 2019 and I've forgotten how to do Zoom. Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome. My name is Sally Berkery. I'm the Managing Director of CEW UK, and I'm delighted to have you join us for today's exclusive session in partnership with CIRCANA. Over the next 45 minutes or so, we'll be diving into the key macro, consumer and retail trends shaping the beauty industry so far this year, which has certainly been a year of turbulence. These insights are designed to help you understand the forces at play and identify opportunities to fuel your business growth as we head into the busiest period of the year. I'm thrilled to introduce our expert speakers from CIRCANA, who many of you, I'm sure, will know. Teresa Fischer, who's Executive Director and brings over 15 years of expertise across prestige and mass beauty, helping brands harness insight to drive strategy and growth. And Helen Duxbury, Account Director, who has over 10 years of experience and has been helping prestige brands bring data to life by identifying the trends that really matter. Together today, they'll be taking us through topics including how macroeconomic factors impact beauty, the influence of recent weather shifts, the evolution of K-beauty in the UK, emerging formats in the industry, and some thoughts on what might be lying ahead for us. Teresa and Helen will be sharing a summary of the presentation afterwards to everybody, and are happy to take any questions you may have at the end. Please do post these in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. And if we don't manage to get to all of the questions, they will be very happy to answer via email as well after today. So thank you again for joining us. Excuse my blooper at the beginning. Without further ado, handing over to you, Teresa.
Thank you so much, Sally. Let me just bring this up. Here we go. Thank you, Sally, and thank you, CEW, for organising this webinar with us today, and thank you for the great introduction. Today, Helen and I will be taking you through a very hot topic in terms of how the beauty market's performing this year so far, and specifically, there has been a lot of different trends that's been really driving the beauty market, and one of the hot topics that I think many of you will also notice is the potential slowdown that we're seeing within the beauty industry. The beauty market has been very dynamic in the last few years and super resilient in comparison to many other industries. And yet, we see a lot of external factors driving the market and potentially also impacting how the beauty industry is performing going forward. So we will touch on that in the next 45 minutes as well. And this is today's agenda. So we will start off with looking at how the global and the UK macroeconomic trends are affecting both the prestige and the mass beauty market. We will then dive into a few key trends that are really impacting the market today and potentially also driving a bit of a disruption to the market. So starting with the weather impact, followed by price evolution, how the beauty formats have changed, the format revolution, and then finally finish off with how we see the market going beyond 2025 and the key important factors to think about going forward. Before we dive into the numbers, we wanted to give you, for those of you who are not familiar with CIRCANA, a brief overview of what we do. So CIRCANA brings in impacts through the accurate data and cross-industry insights into the market, and working very closely with the industry, with our manufacturers and retailers in terms of driving the impact for their business. And specifically, we have a very strong coverage across both mass and prestige, and with the very strong point of sale data providing the most accurate data and insights. We also have a very strong technology platform, both with our liquid data, but also with the technology linking to AI, really turning complexity into clarity. And then finally, in terms of providing impact through the different enablers, and that includes working with retailers for the retailer partnership, measuring media impact and the media lift, looking at different ways of segmenting the market through our store level capabilities and our industry expertise and thought leadership. For anyone who wants to know a bit more, feel free to reach out to us afterwards as well. So 2025, it's definitely been a year of stabilization and also disruption. And we will talk a little bit more on why we're saying this. But I think firstly, it's important to highlight that the market's definitely been very stable. We're still seeing a growth in the market despite the slowdown. But yet we know there are many factors, both within the industry, but also outside of the beauty industry, that is actually disrupting how consumers are shopping today, how the consumers react to the different trends and drivers within the beauty market. If you look at how the beauty market is performing over the last 3 years, you can see that there's definitely a trend of the global slowdown that's happening. When you look at how the European market in North America and in the UK is performing, you can see that that trend, it's very much the same, as we're seeing a slowdown from a double-digit growth, sorry, back in 2023 to now a single-digit growth. But what is really positive is that comparing to the other European markets or North America, UK is still one of the most positive market, representing a strongest growth amongst the countries that we're tracking here globally. We know there are so many UK, but also global macroeconomic trends that's driving the market and also changing how consumers shop. On one hand, you can see there are some positive trends that's happening. You know, the US tariff and the impact, we're definitely seeing that has calmed down a little bit and there's a reduced global volatility. But at the same time, we're also seeing that there are different headwinds. One of the biggest headwinds is still the cost of living and how the cost of living is impacting consumers. Specifically, we know that there are essential products such as groceries, which we have to purchase, we have to live with. And there are some non-essential products and beauty, and some of the beauty categories may be classified as non-essential for our consumers. And the inflation and how the cost is changing amongst all these different products and categories is also changing the way how consumers are prioritizing beauty within their household spending as well. And this cost of living mitigation, it varies across the different age group as well. You can see on this slide, we did a consumer survey looking at the different age group and how they're responding to the cost of living mitigation. And on one hand, for the younger consumers, they are definitely cutting back on essentials, but at the same time, they value convenience. So they are less likely to shop around. And they're really, looking for just where they can get the best of it straight away. Whilst on the other hand, when you look at the age group of 30 to 49, which a lot of them will also include young families with children in the household, you can see that they are definitely focusing more on essentials. They are more willing to shop around, and they will be looking to cut down on anything that is a non-essential product for them. So they are much more cautious about the cost of living and how they prioritize all the different spending within their household. But yet, if you look at how beauty across both mass and prestige are performing amongst some of the other industries that we also track within CIRCANA, we still outperform amongst many different industries. Both prestige and mass beauty are growing very strongly and one of the fastest growing industries in terms of unit growth, growing at 9% and 3% respectively. From a value standpoint, we also see a very strong growth at 7% consistently across both industries. And it really represents that it's still a very resilient category and consumers are still looking for and demanding for beauty products as well. One of the highlights I want to also mention outside of beauty is the toy industry. The toy industry also have a very strong link with the beauty market. You can see that it's growing at 1% in units, but it also grew very strongly in value at 8%. And during COVID, we know that the toys industry did extremely well, and then they had a period of slowdown, but now we're seeing a comeback. And overall, consumers are continue looking for toys, for comfort, for joy, for fun. And some of these pictures you're probably very familiar with, but one of the key drivers that we see that's driving the toys category includes the plush toys and back charms. So those of you probably heard of the picture there, Labubu and also Jellycat, and they are performing extremely well in the market. Licensed toys, for those of you who've got kids, will be familiar with some of the movies or some of the licensed characters. And licensed toys continue to be also driving the toy industry, along with the kid out toys. So now toys is not just for kids, it's also for adults. We always look for joy through products such as Lego, which is also driving the market very strongly. And overall, kid out toys are growing at 8%. And I'm mentioning this because we know there are already increasingly back charms coming into the beauty industry, whether it's a plush toy working as a GWP or actually a beauty back charm that actually has a beauty product with a keychain that you could put on your handbags. And this really creates another element of fun and desirability within the beauty industry as well. Another reason we are also mentioning the toy industry is also linked to the consumers. We know that the toy industry is dominated, of course, with parents buying their children with toys. But actually, we are seeing that the penetration of young children, especially in girls, are reducing within the toy industry. And when we did a survey understanding through the parents in terms of what other categories are they buying more of, over 55% of the UK market are actually, of the UK is saying that they are buying more beauty category as a result, rather than the toy category. So we know that the generation of Gen Alpha is growing and increasing, and they are one of our future consumer profiles, in the next 10, 15, 20 years. But yet it's so important that we start educating the parents. We provide very clear guidelines and education within the industry for these young children who are already engaging with the beauty market. If we come back to numbers, you can see that the overall beauty and wellness industry grew at 10% overall, which is a very strong performance. Within the beauty and wellness, we know that consumers are increasingly cautious about their self-care, about their health, and you can see this is also reflecting when you see wellness products are growing at double digit at 11%. And this also includes beauty vitamins and supplements, which we know is a key area that is driving the growth. It's not just about beauty products and what you put on your skin, but it's also beauty within. And within that, we also see that the beauty products are growing at 7%. And you already see in the beginning how both prestige and mass market are growing strongly overall as well. When it comes to beauty and how the correlation between premium and value, and you can see that generally consumers is a single consumer that shop across both. 99% of all premium beauty buyers, they already buy mass and mid-range brands. But actually, if you look at the mass and mid-range buyers, only 56% currently buy into premium. So there is still an opportunity to increase penetration within the premium beauty market specifically. And there's also a big opportunity to engage with more consumers overall. And you can also see from how the market is being split, how mass market are dominating with almost 60% of the sales, but premium brands are also growing very strongly with a 6% increase. But the bar chart in the middle, which is the mid-range brands, is where it represents the growth today. Helen's going to talk a little bit more what is driving the mid-range brands, but overall, you can see that the mid-range brands are growing at 18%, which is also driving a bit of disruption within the beauty industry. Another element that's important to highlight across the mass market and also premium in comparison to premium and mid-range is the seasonality trend. As we're now coming into Christmas, which is the most important time of the year for beauty, you can see that despite the mass market having a higher level of sales across the first 3 quarters, when it comes to the Christmas period at Q4, premium and mid-range brands are actually as big as the mass market. And it really highlights the importance in terms of focusing on some of these brands, some of these products, and also the opportunity for gifting and driving desirability at this time of the year. As we talk about the beauty purchases, we also see that across different categories, there are very different drivers that drives the market. And this also explains some of the strong growth that we're seeing within each of the category. In fragrance, you can see one of the most important driver is still about the scent. And it's 37% of the consumers say a long-lasting and effective scent is the most important for them, and followed by a luxurious and uniqueness. So that emotional feeling within a fragrance still drives a very important part of their purchase decision today. And yet when you look at skincare, it's all about the trusted brand. And I think a trusted brand also includes the ingredient, which is a very important part element, sustainability, which we know is a hot topic, a very important driver for the beauty market as well. And the natural products is another element that drives the growth. When it comes to makeup, one of the most important driver for makeup, for purchasing makeup product is good value for money. And this is also why it's one of the category where we see still a lot of correlation across mass and also premium and prestige overall. And we also see that makeup products are now not just for actual makeup, there is a lot of hybrid approach. So for example, makeup products with skincare benefit is a key driver for the market today, which is also what's driving the decision making for our consumers. And this also reflects when you start looking at what is really driving the beauty market across the different categories so far. Consumers are definitely looking for products that provides that longevity and also the versatility. Across the different categories, you can see different drivers that drives the growth. In fragrance, we still see that the long-lasting and the stronger concentration of perfume and EDP is driving the market. Within skincare, we see that there's a strong comeback of serum. And there's a lot of heritage brands that are also driving this, but we know that serum is one of the products that is most functional and also really targeting the consumer needs. And there's specific skin concerns for their face. Followed by sets and kit. And sets and kit is also coming back. And this also includes a lot of the recent launches coming from advent calendars, which we know the market is launching even earlier in comparison to last year. Within makeup, we continue to see the growth coming from lip balm and lip oils. There is a lot of tinted products that's been launched in the market, along with setting spray and powder, which is another key area that really drives the market today. And when it comes to hair, serum is another key driver, which again is going back to the consumer needs. They're really focusing on products that really answers their hair concern. And that's why we're seeing that strong growth coming from serum today. So now I'm going to pass on to Helen to talk about some of the key trends.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Teresa. I will apologise now that I'm going to be a little bit Chris Whitty because Teresa is handling the slide, so I will be saying next slide, please. Anyway, the first topic I'm going to look at is the weather, the topic that all us Brits love talking about. So next slide, please, Teresa. We all know we've had a hot summer this year. This year, the summer, as reported by the BBC a few months ago, has been the hottest on record. We've not necessarily had the highest temperature, but it has been very hot. The temperature versus last year as an overall summer period was up plus 12%. We've seen a lot less rainfall, and for those of you with gardens, and I have one, they've been looking very, very parched recently. So we have been quite glad to have a little bit of rain. And then sunshine has been up plus 13% versus last year. Now, actually this summer, we've had 4 heat waves. And I did think, what is a heat wave? A heat wave actually depends on where you are in the country. So up north, you can have a cooler heat wave than you have down south. Down south, around where we are, the temperature has to hit 28% to be considered a heat wave. Next, please. And obviously, we've seen different categories that we monitor across CIRCANA affected in different ways. In general, if you've got a sunny weekend, consumers are more likely to go out and take advantage of travel-related products. They might be going out to have a day by the seaside rather than going to a big shopping mall. So that will affect people's shopping for different categories as a weekend activity. Things that we've seen growing are some of them very obvious. Sun care, self-tan if you're getting your legs out and they're quite white, body sprays, dry shampoo, tinted moisturiser, body cleansers. We're having a few more showers probably if we get a bit hot and sweaty. Facial sprays, ice cream. We certainly know that's a very seasonal category. Still water. And I'm very glad to see the last one on this list being deodorant. I think if we hadn't seen deodorant growing, we'd have been a little bit worried. On the reverse side, there are some categories that don't perform as well when it's hot. A lot of them being the makeup categories. So foundation, the biggest part of makeup, we don't really like when it's super hot having a full face of foundation. So we have seen that switch over the summer between tinted moisturiser and foundation, and then other areas of makeup that you might not need to wear if you're getting a bit of a tan, etc. And then we've got some of the food categories. We're not eating so much soup, we're not eating so much custard, and we're not having as much hot chocolate when the sun is shining. Next, please. And this is reflected in, what are UK skincare shoppers most looking for in a product, and it's dermatologist approved. So they're looking for that clinical reassurance in their products, but also contains SPF. And I think we are seeing a gradual move over to consumers using more SPF. If you look on the right-hand side, it shows you the demographics of people who are considering SPF of purchase driver in facial skincare. And yes, it's high amongst your 45 to 54, but also the younger generations are starting to use SPF as well, and they will take that, that journey with them. Next, please. Looking at the sun care category, so no surprises that we've seen sun driving growth and increasing sales when the sun shines. The top three items there are face in sun from premium brands, premium self tan, premium body sun, and then we've got face cream. So all of those categories are growing at a great extent. The premium face cream that includes SPF over 30 is growing a lot faster than those face creams below 30. I don't think that we're all depending on our face creams for SPF, because I think the facial sun care numbers show that we're using SPF instead. But I think if you can have it in your face cream, then it is a bonus. We've also got the mass sun care numbers, and if you go into Boots or any of the retailers selling sun care, you will see that the mass sun care is a huge category within there. The other thing that we're seeing is the sizes of products. So during the holiday season, we tend to see the 100 mLs outperforming. So on my numbers there, your Body Sun 100 mLs are plus 29%, your Mass Sun Care 100 ml, because these are the sizes you can take through an airport with you. And they are all growing ahead of the market. The one area, if I look at face in sun, then the main size for facial SPF products is 50 ml, which you can take through the airport anyway. But what we're seeing during the summer is the bigger sizes of face SPF. So your 75 ml products are growing ahead of your 50 ml and of the total market. Next, please. And then linking this, face in sun accounts for 9% of K-beauty units compared to 3% for the others. K-beauty is something we've started to see talked about a lot on social media. We've seen K-beauty retailers popping up as well. And this year we saw Korean skincare driving 21% of the year-to-date skincare gains. Next, please. The numbers on the left-hand side show that K-beauty growth isn't something new. If we're looking back for the last 3 years, we have seen K-beauty growing ahead of total skincare. And these numbers have been produced. A lot of the Korean skincare brands are becoming unsuppressed. So we're seeing some growth from unsuppression, but these numbers here are brands that these numbers here include the brands that have been suppressed. So it's all completely factual data. And we have seen it growing in the last 3 years and ahead of skincare. K-beauty is very, very much focused around 5 or 4 different subsegments. So from these 5 subsegments below, K-beauty accounts for 60% of their sales come from these 5 subsegments, whereas for others, it's a much more wide split where we're purchasing other subsegments as well as these. And the numbers below show you the index. So, it's the K-beauty divided by your total beauty. And the index on face cream is 109. So it is higher, but not massively higher. But then if you look at some of the other areas, such as lip treatment, all other face, and including all other face category includes multi-use products, and particularly the pimple patches that you can put on nowadays. Then we've got masks are very strong within K-beauty, and as we've just seen, face in sun, so 93% more. It accounts for 93% more of K-beauty than it does for regular beauty. The other thing is the price, that the K-beauty products tend to be at a lower end of the price threshold because we're looking there, the highest price is face cream at 26%. And then having talked about price, we're now going to move on to look at the evolution of price and promotions in the category. So this is looking at fragrance, makeup and skincare, and how much of the different types of products are sold within the different pricing bands. So you can see for fragrance, there's a real array of products sold in different price bands, going from less than £30 up to greater than 151. So we've got a big range of fragrance products. Makeup is a lot lower price, so the majority being sold at less than 50. And then we've got, again, a little bit more of a variety in skincare, ranging from the lower up to the higher. The big interest is in fragrance. If we look on the right-hand side, the growth in fragrance in terms of actual value change is coming from those higher priced items. I will be going on to talk about this because, last year we saw massive growth from some of the lower priced items in fragrance. In makeup, the bulk of sales growth is coming from your less than equal to 30, and the same within skincare. And as Teresa mentioned earlier, a lot of the brands in this area are your mid-range brands. So where is the strength of mid-range brands? So these are categories where mid-range brands perform ahead of your more premium brands. One of these is sets, and Teresa has touched on this a little bit, that within our mid-range brands, we have seen very, very strong growth coming through at the end of August and actually continuing into September, due to advent calendars. Now, a lot of our mid-range, our retailer-owned labels are included in mid-range brands. So we are seeing growth coming through from sets more towards the end of the year-to-date August than the beginning. We're also seeing mid-range brands performing very well in our core product segment. So such as your face cream, face serum has traditionally been one where some of the lower priced mid-range brands have been very strong because consumers can buy into the benefits of a serum, be it the ingredients, etc., but at a lower price. Then we've got sets, and we've also got cleansers in this area as well. Lip and sun is an area that these mid-range brands also over-index. And I think for lip as well, some of the lip products are lower priced, so fit in well with these mid-range brands. And as we've seen, the K-Beauty, they're lower priced, they're generally mid-range brands, and they are over-indexing on sun. And then also functional products, so your daily shampoo and conditioner, your body cream, your body cleanser. These are items that you use them every day. You're not really willing to pay that much of a premium because they're not offering anything particular in terms of extra expensive ingredients, etc. And then in fragrance, so we looked earlier at the fragrance market drivers. And where we've seen the higher price points growing is we've seen a lot more introduction of high concentrations in fragrance. So when brands have been evolving, they've been launching eau de parfums, they've been launching perfumes. We've seen a lot of elixirs, a lot of intense, a lot of absolutes out in the market, and that's driving the high concentrations, which generally is how a brand can premiumize by bringing out something that consumers will pay more for. In terms of ultra luxury, so this is niche, greater than fragrance products that cost more than £250 are growing plus 19%. And this is a trend we've been seeing going back over the last few years, where consumers are looking for something a little bit different, not wearing the mainstream that everybody else is. And this is what's being offered by our niche fragrance brands. We're also interested in affordable prestige. So we've got celebrity brands here. Sabrina Carpenter has a juice, and these celebrity brands, when they're relevant, they perform super well, and they've been around for a long time. The other area that I could talk probably for a whole presentation on is body sprays and mists. Now, this growth here doesn't look that considerable. It's plus 5%. If we were looking at this number last year, it would have been much, much higher. So there was a big launch in body sprays last year. You probably all know who I'm talking about. And it was a very, very strong launch. The body sprays category has now grown to be just under 50 million from, if we were going back a few years ago, it would have been 10 million. So there's a whole new category has been created within body sprays and mists. We're now starting to see other brands launching in body sprays and mists. So there's an acceleration of innovation in body sprays and mists. And if you think the dupe culture has increased quite a lot, you can go down your road to your local chemist and buy a dupe fragrance if you want to smell like something, and they'll even tell you which brand they're likely to smell like. A body spray is very similar to that in that, you know, it offers you a cheaper alternative, but you can still smell like one of your favorite scents. It might not be as long lasting, but it's certainly something that, you know, consumers can look into. You can use it for layering, you can use it to carry around in your handbag, you can use it for after the gym. And I think I will now stop on body spray because I've probably gone on enough. And we talked about niche, so our super expensive fragrances. What does success look like in niche? These are the things that are driving the niche category. We do see, you know, in news articles, etc., that the industry is talking well about some of these niche fragrances, and that helps to drive purchases. There's also celebrity endorsements, so the likes of Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, Hailey Bieber, Travis Kelce was even spotted with a luxury fragrance in the week that he got engaged to Taylor Swift, so that was quite good publicity coming through there. In terms of sizing, we see the large sizes for niche fragrance over-indexing a lot. Some of the niche fragrances don't even offer a smaller size. They will just offer 1 or 1 and 2 sizes. So large sizes are relevant in this sector, but also the discovery sets. We've seen more interest recently in launching a discovery set. Some of them are reasonable size, so are still cost over £100, but we have seen some, you know, smaller trial size discovery sets that, you know, are not hugely expensive, and how lovely to gift at Christmas a box of these lovely luxury fragrances. We're also seeing perfume formats, so your stronger formats, and Teresa has mentioned that longevity is key to fragrance purchasing. So we see these stronger concentrations that last longer. And we often see these niche brands with quite a low level of distribution. They're not wanting to be distributed everywhere. They keep a quite select but exclusive distribution in bricks and mortar. We are seeing that relax a little bit with some of our, you know, high street retailers starting to take on some of these niche fragrance brands. So, you know, there is a little bit of distribution extension going on there. And then where are we buying prestige beauty? So this is the percentage of sales going through the categories in terms of e-commerce. So as we've spoken before, fragrance is the lowest penetration of e-commerce because it's very much one of those touchy-feeling categories that you want to go into store, you want to smell a new fragrance. If you want to buy something new, you want to see how X compares to Y. But we are seeing, you know, more innovation on how to sell fragrance online, and a great place to go and purchase your beloved fragrance that you have all the time on your dressing table. Makeup is 46%, so still less than 50% going through online. There are certain categories in makeup where it is a benefit to go into store and be shade matched, such as foundation, tinted moisturizer. If you want to try a new lip color, you can actually go and see it in store. Again, there are a lot of AI tools now to help you match shades if you're doing it from home and take a picture. Skincare is 54%, so more skincare sales go through on e-commerce than do in terms of bricks and mortar. And I think it's a lot easier to buy skincare in terms of e-commerce because, you know, we quite often are listening to influencers, and if they say this product is great, it does X, Y, and Z, and we trust them, we can immediately go to clicking onto a product that we want to buy. And then hair, premium hair has traditionally been quite limited in terms of bricks and mortar, so it has traditionally been a very much an e-commerce category. We are seeing that evolve a little bit, but certainly during COVID, when we couldn't go to the salon, we started to purchase prestige hair care online to begin with. If we look at the price as well, we generally shop online because we can buy the same product for less money. So we can even go into store and then come home and shop around online to get products for less money, which is the case in fragrance and makeup. Skincare, I thought, would be the same, but it isn't. And I think one of the reasons for this is, again, as we spoke in mid-range, some of the retailer exclusive sets which go into mid-range and are more predominantly sold in terms of online. If you think of some of the retailer advent calendars you've seen coming up, some of those retailers are mainly e-commerce retailers. Promotions. So promotions aren't new news in beauty. We've seen promotions getting bigger and bigger and bigger. When I joined what was NPD 11 years ago, the norm for promotions in prestige beauty was 10%, and now we're seeing 25%, and even certain products offering half price or better than half price. But we have seen in the first half of 2025, the market has been more promoted than we've seen previously. So if we look at the level of value sales that are happening on promotion for bricks and mortar and e-commerce, that level of value sales has gone up versus last year. The discounts have remained fairly similar, and because the amount of sales on promotion has gone up, it either means there are more promotions happening, and I think that is probably the case, but I think in conjunction with that, we're seeing more consumers waiting to buy things on promotion. Because if you know a retailer is going to do a 25% off promotion either once or twice a year, then you are more likely to wait and buy your bigger ticket items from those retailers, because you can save quite a lot of money. The other thing we've noticed this year, and this is the first thing that it's happened, the largest amount of value sold on promotion has come from makeup. In previous years, it's always been fragrances, but I think because of the way the makeup landscape has been evolving, we're seeing more promotions happening in makeup and more consumers buying their products on promotion in makeup. And then if we look at how this translates to the key consumption periods, we are seeing in the first half of the year, we have Valentine's Day, we have Mother's Day, we have Father's Day, and we've seen value sales for the 2 weeks before those KCPs growing quite significantly. Valentine's Day up 8%, Mother's Day up 11%, and Father's Day up 12%. And this is versus the equivalent weeks the previous year. The other thing that we've seen is that the weight on promotion has increased as well for these 2 weeks. So for Valentine's Day up 5%, for Mother's Day up 7%, and for Father's Day up 12 points. So we are seeing, and we often see those promotions drop away after that KCP month. If we go on to the next one, Black Friday last year, so it hasn't happened yet this year. Black Friday is coming. In 2024, the weight of promotion for Black Friday week was almost 64%. That's huge. If we see that trend continuing as we have on the key consumption periods in the first half of the year, that could be over 70% of sales in Black Friday week happening on promotion, which is phenomenal. I now hand back over to Teresa.
Thank you, Helen. So the last thing we would like to take you through is about the format. So this is another area where we definitely have seen a disruption within the beauty industry, that there has been so many different formats that has been launched, has been focused on across the different categories. So starting with sizes, which Helen's touched on it when we talk about the weather and the weather impact and how consumers are traveling more, and therefore they are increasingly looking for travel sizes. And this is definitely evident across the different industries, where we see not just a sun care or weather related categories, where we see travel sizes are increasing across different products, including the stronger concentration of EDP and perfume, or for example, mascara. We are also seeing that the travel sizes have increased, which of course is linked to convenience, but at the same time, it could also be for recruitment purposes. For example, for trial, for customers who don't want to invest so much for a full size product, they could then go for a smaller size to try the product beforehand. At the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, more consumers are looking for value for money as well. So this is going back to the replenishment products that they already love. They like to go for the large sizes. And this is also evident amongst the different categories and the different products that we see. And when we talk about large sizes here, it will mean different size for different categories. So for example, in fragrance, we generally talk about a fragrance that's over 200 ml, and you can see it's growing in double digit at 11%. In face cream, we're talking about products which are over 75 milliliter, which is generally then classified as large sizes. And we can also see a double-digit growth as well. So definitely in terms of the sizing format, we are seeing that it has evolved, and consumers are looking for different format that actually serves the different occasion and the different purposes. Another format that is on the rise across the different categories is the stick format. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen different products in beauty with new launches and increased innovation. And you can see that when we look at the actual value gain for this year across the different product subsegments, you can see that stick foundation specifically have increased by 2 million, followed by stick blush, and then also fragrance juices as well. So this is linked to a lot of the solid perfume, which is again easy for travel sizes, but also with a very beautiful, pretty packaging as well. And stick format is definitely one that are becoming very trendy in the market. There's a lot of innovation that is also driving that market as well. And as we touch upon some of the categories that has got a strong weather impact, such as face and sun products and deodorants, we are also seeing the stick format is also increasing as well. Another element is in makeup. So we're definitely seeing that there are, new format outside of the traditional format of makeup products that is actually really driving the market. There are different formats here that we wanted to talk about. The first one is about the cream format. So cream format generally is more hydrating, more skin-like finish. We know that makeup with skincare benefit is becoming increasingly important, and we see that a lot of the cream format makeup products are growing in double digit at 31%. Liquid format, of course, foundation as an example is already liquid format, but at the same time, we're seeing increase such as liquid blush, liquid bronzer that's also launched in the market. They are buildable pigments, but at the same time, they're easy to carry and easy to apply. And we're also seeing a growth of double digit at 21%. And then finally, as we're looking for products that serve multi-purpose, the multitasker products are also growing very strongly. They are products that could work on different parts of the face. They are multi-purpose. They are good value for money. And again, great for on the go. We generally like to carry less with us now in our handbag. And these products are also brilliant. And overall, we're also seeing an 18% increase coming from these formats as well. And I think the final element that is important is about refill. We know sustainability is a very important element when it comes to the beauty industry, but we know it still requires a lot of education. When we look at refill, we can see that consumers are definitely increasing their awareness of refill because they are also buying more refill. And I think one element when it comes to refill is that there is a refillable packaging. So the actual product itself that is already come as a refillable format, which we see that dominates majority of the different categories. But at the same time, there is the actual refill that consumers are purchasing. And that is the element that really represent that they are refilling the product, they like the product, and they are buying that in order to, to protect the environment and for sustainability. And we see that the refill format is also growing amongst majority of the beauty categories that we're talking about here. Fragrance have got the highest penetration of refill, which is reaching at 10% now, and then followed by skincare. But one of the key elements when it comes to skincare is that it's the only category which I would say have almost a 50-50 split between the refillable pack and the actual refill itself, which means that consumers potentially are more educated about the skincare products specifically, and that they are, especially in face cream as an example, that they are more likely to actually buy the refill afterwards as well. So this is still a very important element for the industry and for all the different brands as well. So as we talk about beyond 2025, we just wanted to provide a few key innovation themes that are important to think about for the future, and that will continue to be key element across the different beauty categories. The first one is about permissible indulgence and desirability. Consumers will continue to look for products. We know beauty products sometimes provide a lot of fun to the consumers. There is sometimes in beautiful packaging, a lot of demand and desirability, and that experience and social media impact will continue to be a key driver for the market. They're not compromising. Consumers are definitely not compromising on that element. But yet it needs to provide the performance and needs to be resilience. The product needs to work for them, and therefore the enhanced formula with proven results, products with hydration or multi-benefits that actually fits their lifestyle are becoming increasingly important and will be for the future as well. So they're able to control the products, actually provide them what they need. We know that consumers will continue to consider well-being and self-care as an important element. So we also see the evidence that not only face skincare are growing, as an example, body skincare outside of body sprays are still growing very strongly. Consumers are also looking for potentially pro-level products or benefits at home. So, increasingly the self-care routine are becoming much more at home. We are also seeing, for example, facial devices are growing strongly as well. Consumers are being empowered by that. And then lastly, the sustainability element. It's not just about refill, it's also about the packaging, it's also about the ingredients that goes into the product. It's better for the planet, better for the environment. And these are the 4 key factors that will continue to be important in the future as we think about innovation ideas and what drives the beauty industry. So finally, beyond 2025, what are the key elements to think about that will continue to drive the beauty industry? The first one is to continue leveraging on the ever-changing consumer needs. I think all of us, you can relate to this. We are continuously looking for something different because of the change of our personal needs. And for the brands, for the industry to react quickly to those consumer needs, either through innovation or through education, is important in terms of addressing that going forward. Maximizing distribution strategy and the power of social media. This is still a very important driver of the market. We know there is a huge power when it comes to bricks and mortar, and therefore linking to distribution, and when it comes to the power of online and social media, different social media platform. And it's important that, to go beyond, these are the key elements to think about. We talk about this year is a year of disruption. So to disrupt the disruptor is also a key element to think about. And this includes many different factors, for the brands who are who've been in the market for many, many years and much more heritage brands, is to continue focus on your brand efficacy. Or at the same time, innovation. Innovation is a key element on how we potentially disrupt the disruptors as well. And finally, as we're coming into the Christmas period, we know that wellness, gifting, and desirability is continue to be a key driver. And we know that gifting is beyond just a gift set. There are so many products that can be giftable, including wellness products, including products which are maybe very trending in the market that creates that strong desirability. So that's also a key element to think about beyond 2025. So thank you very much. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because we will have about 10 minutes to cover some of the questions in the Q&A. So
I've just had a look, Teresa, and there's a couple of questions, first of all, on hair care, of which I will admit to not being my most expert category, but one is what are the types of products driving growth in hair care? And I think, we're seeing a lot of innovation in terms of repair and treatment type products, and certainly hair oils as well. And then the following question to that was, are we seeing a similar trend for hair mists that we are seeing for body mist and fragrance? And at the moment in fragrance, we don't see so much of a trend that we've seen for body mists. For body mists, we've seen a lot of innovation, and we don't really see that in fragrance. Now, for a hair mist to be included in fragrance, it has to be linked to a fragrance, whereas we have seen some of the hair care brands launching perfumes as a hair care brand. So although in fragrance we've not seen, there are hair mists in fragrance from some of the perfume brands, but I think where we've seen innovation is in hair care and those strong hair care brands branching out into hair care mists.
So let me cover the next question. So there's a question about, is innovation still driving the beauty market? So we know innovation is always a important driver for beauty. There's been so many innovation, especially right now as we're coming into Christmas. We know that, there are also new innovations that are, that are launched, especially in fragrance, in makeup, that are targeting this time of the year. Interestingly, innovation hasn't been, in terms of the actual value, it hasn't been driving so much for the first 8 months of the year. We're actually seeing that, the existing products are still the most important driver, but it's important to highlight innovation is only around 10 to 15% of the category, depending on which category we're talking about. So I think that it's important we continue to invest in innovation, but also don't forget about your existing portfolio or the hero products that you have in terms of how, to drive the growth from that element as well.
There's another question here on what are retailers doing to support the beauty industry, and I think retailers are doing a lot. We're a very resilient industry, as we've just seen, but we are seeing a lot of support coming from retailers. So we're seeing new door openings, Space NK are opening throughout the country, so not just in London, but then we have got the new flagship door on Oxford Street. Debenhams, who are particularly an online retailer at the moment, are going to be opening some beauty showrooms. We're seeing retailers doing different things in store. We're seeing some of the fragrance shops having particularly boutique areas. Boots are launching a fragrance only shop, and also doing different things such as quiet hours, or having pop-ups in store and things like that, just to engage consumers and do something a little bit different.
So there is also a question about, do we have any insights into the footfall data? So we in CIRCANA we track POS sales data, and what we see is that within bricks and mortar, there is definitely still a growth coming from different categories. So it's still, that omni-channel is here to stay. We don't necessarily have exact footfall data, but what is interesting is that we do have a city level details. And actually, across some of the cities, as an example, we actually see that, London, which we know is one of the most important city overall for any industry, but also for beauty, it still dominates, and we know there are new stores opening. But actually, what we are seeing a stronger growth is actually coming from cities outside of London. So it also highlights, potentially how consumers are going out shopping more again. We also see, and this is coming from the external footfall data, how consumers are shopping more in the retail parks. And we actually, see this is also reflecting in the numbers, where we see some of the cities which has got, key retail parks are growing very strongly as well. So I hope it answers that. We're answering probably half of your question here, through some of the store level data and also the bricks and mortar performance.
I think on that as well, Teresa, the British Retail Consortium produce a report every month, which is open for the public to read. And so if you do want to have a little bit more information about that, just Google British Retail Consortium, and every month they'll say what the footfall's been, how the weather has affected sales, etc. So we often do a lot of outside reading in order to fuel our knowledge.
Absolutely.
That's probably it, isn't it? We've answered all the questions. Have we answered all the questions?
We have answered. Oh, there is one more that just came in. Oh, hold on. Am I looking at the right thing?
There's two, actually.
There is two, yes. So there is one about male segment in skincare and grooming. So I think the male market, it's true. It's one that is always, with less mention and less focus. But I think what's important is how consumers are shopping now. I think that there are potentially more and more products that are more functional, that is not specifically for men and women. And the fact that we are seeing that, skincare is still such a strong driver, with so many product segments are growing, I think still represents a strong opportunity for male. But we're happy to, feel free to reach out to us, and we can also, discuss any more details linking to that as well.
Yeah, I think as well that we at CIRCANA, we're specifically working on the prestige area, and I think male skincare still has quite a long way to go in terms of mass and getting more men to use skincare. And I think this is happening amongst the younger generation. So as they age and become more wealthy, hopefully we'll transition them over to prestige. There was one last question about K-beauty, which I'll just address that, and then I think we'll be out of time. But I think at the moment, yes, K-beauty will continue to expand. I think we're seeing stores popping up all over the place. We're seeing retailers launching their own Korean type brands. We're seeing, you know, consumers interacting very much with K-beauty. And I think, yes, we will see it continuing. How long that lasts is actually another question, because, you know, if you go back 10 years ago, Teresa and I both know there was the 14-step K-beauty skincare regime, which I don't think any of us have the time or had the time to do then. And then K-beauty went a bit quiet. So I think, you know, is it going to be a fad, or is it something that's here to stay? Only time will tell.
Yeah. Right, I think that's it. Thank you very much to every one of you for joining this webinar. I hope you find this useful. For anyone who have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be happy to support and also have a chat with you as well. Thank you very much, and have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you.